Here's a shit test that women, especially women in relationships, will do to men. And if you are not careful, you will fail this shit test. Women want to see how disciplined are you really, right? How disciplined are you really? You go to the gym every morning at 5 a.m. But what if we dangle a little pussy carrots in front in front of that gym, in front of that gym goal that you have there, right? If a lot of women will do this as a shit test, they won't even realize it, right? They won't even realize it, but they will be like, "Hey, don't go to the gym this morning. Stay in bed with me." Right? Stay in bed with me. Right? Don't you want to stay in bed and make love to me like this morning instead of going to the gym? Like they'll do that kind of shit, right? And got weak men will be like, "Yeah, you're right. I can skip the gym today. Let's just stay in bed and bang." Right? Well, then the next day she does the same thing, and then and next thing you know, you stop going to the gym, and you're fat. You're a fat piece of crap, and it's all her fault because of that vagina. Um, I don't know if women will do that to you every day, but women will do that. Okay. They will say stuff like, just stay in bed. Like, you don't have to work out. And if you say, yeah, you're right, honey, I don't have to work out today. Like, I'll skip it today. You failed. You failed either like consciously or subconsciously. A little something in the back of her head is like, hey, I got him to like break his routine for me. I don't know if I respect that. You know what I mean? It's like a cat that sort of like my cat, Dr. Kit. She'll sort of like come up to me and she'll be like, "Brrrr, brrrr," but if as soon as I go to like pet her or try to pick her up, she doesn't want anything to do with me. She's like, "Oh, if you want me now, like now I don't like you," right? She's weird, right? Women are weird like that. Well, same kind of thing. If a woman can manipulate you into doing something that goes against your best interest, like she'll lose respect for you. So you can't do that. You gotta say, "No, honey, I'm going to the gym." Right? Like, well, I'll take care of that ass later, right? Like you have to be able to tell her no and stick to your mission, and she will actually respect you more. Like, well, she doesn't want to win that. She doesn't really want you to stay in bed. She wants you to go to the gym. She wants you to tell her no. But most men are too weak and too horny to listen to their gut instinct with that. Okay. And that self discipline that builds resilience, reducing emotional reactivity, and making a man more grounded. Yeah, and that sort of goes hand in hand with what we've been talking about with AJ's book on building that emotional durability, right? Putting yourself through stress makes you a little bit more resilient, and then that resilience, building that up over time, makes you more durable. Fitness can help you in that area. If you do a lot of stressful shit and you push through that kind of stuff, like I've ran marathons. I've done tough mutters, I run like 4 miles a day now, but like knowing that I can push through that helps me deal with other stressors in my life a lot better. The next concept here is body language and how that communicates dominance and strength. Okay. A lot of guys don't realize what their body language is telling other people, right? They don't have good posture, right? They cross their arms, they put their hands in their pockets. A lot of the stuff signals insecurity, even though they're not trying to put that message out, right? So having a strong posture and open body language, it naturally conveys confidence and control, right? When you sit down, you want to like man spread a little bit, like, and you want to lean back and have wide open body language. All that kind of stuff is more dominant masculine body language than if you're sitting like this. This is very closed off body language. It basically signals to people you to go away. Like, I'm not interested in what you have to say or anything, right? So if you're on a date and you're doing this to a chick, like she doesn't want to be there. You're going to make her feel uncomfortable. Well, same thing with your wife. If that's how you typically sit, you're going to make her feel uncomfortable. If you're the kind of guy that crosses your legs like this, um, it's a very feminine sitting position. You know what I mean? I try to, when I see my son doing that, I try to correct him on that. Like, dude, don't put your legs like that. Like, that's very feminine to do like that. And he's like, oh, is it? And I'm like, yeah, yeah. I was like, if you're going to cross your legs, like cross your legs so that your knee is out a little bit so that it's spread a little bit. That's more of a masculine way to cross your legs. you know? Um, but otherwise, like sit with your knees like out, you know, and man spread a little bit, but don't sit with your legs crossed like this. That's it's feminine. It's very feminine. Um, Slouching, crossed arms, or fidgeting signals insecurity and diminishes a man's perceived value. So if you are someone who's very anxious and you got to fidget and you got to play with shit all the time, which I can be, I'm guilty of that. Like I'm guilty. I'll take stuff and I'll fiddle with it and stuff like that. Um, uh, that sort of signals insecurity and it diminishes your value, right? So try not to do that as much as possible. Definitely try not to slouch. Try to always be sit up straight or stand straight and have your shoulders back and your chest out, right? Like that's more confident body language. Moving with a purpose and taking up space increases presence and magnetism. You want to when you want to not walk too fast. You don't want to like meander and walk too slow. God bless. I can't stand being in a supermarket where people are slouched over their shopping cart and just sort of barely move through the store and they're just meandering super fucking slow through the store. I turn into Aaron Clary at that point and I start losing my shit at people like, get the fuck out of my way. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't really, but I do. I'm like, I that does bug me when people are in the store like that. It's like, good Lord, don't you like, why do you want to be in the fucking supermarket more than you have to be? Like, get your shit and get the fuck out, right? So, walking with a purpose, you know what I mean? Like walking with deliberate movements, using deliberate hand gestures. That's more of a masculine body language type thing. RP Thor has a really good course on body language and having dominant masculine presence. If you go to becomedurable.com, you can get his course on that. It's really good. He also talks about that in his book, A Dominant Masculine Presence. He talks about all the body language kind of stuff. Very important to have. Chad, hey, what's up, Chad? He goes, I have the same pet peeve with the shopping cart slouchers. Oh, fucking hate them, man. Yeah. I can't fucking stand those guys, man. Like, what are you doing with your life where you're just and then they wear fucking pajama pants and shit to the store? Like, get the fuck out of here. CW says telling her no is easier the older you get, especially if your libido is lower. So the horniness urge is lower. God bless for low libido and low testosterone. Sometimes, I guess. Man, I had a neighbor when I lived up in Cedar Edge. Before I bought this house, I was living in a rental house in Cedar Edge, and my next door neighbor was like a true MGTOW guy. You know, he was an overweight guy. He bought the house next to me, which was a fixer upper. And so that's what he liked to do in his spare time because he was retired. So he liked, you know, fixing up the house and making it livable for him. And then otherwise, like he would go on the weekend, he would go for these long drives and drive, you know, 2 hours away to, you know, Glenwood or whatever. And he liked to do that kind of stuff. But one of the things he was telling me is that after his last divorce, he's completely given up on women. And he's so funny. He was talking about how women, when you're his age, they immediately want to start like cooking you dinners and stuff. Like if there's like a single old lady there, he's like, and that's how they get you, man. They try to get you with their cooking and all this stuff. He's like, you got to be careful with that. I'm just like, so like, yeah, women being nice to you is just terrible. It's a terrible thing, bro. But anyway, one of his things that he said, going back to what CW was talking about, it was like the blessing of getting older is having lower testosterone. So you don't give a shit anymore. Like I don't give a fuck. Like I don't even want to hang out with women anymore. And it's like, it's so free. I was like, that sounds terrible to me. You know, like I actually like women. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know, to each their own, I guess. But he was a true MGTOW guy. Like he wasn't like online bitching about women. He was just like living his life, you know, and like I could respect that. I can respect that a little bit. I can't stand the guys that basically they read internet stats and talk themselves out of talking to women, and they just use it as one big cope, and then they commiserate about how fucking women ain't shit because women won't talk to them anyway. It's like, okay, like you're just a loser. I don't know what to tell you, man.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.